Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Okay, I think we're live. It looks like we're live. It looks like we are live. And we are live, recording live from Arlington, Vermont. I'm Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. And we are going live with the ever so popular model trains. Now, there might be a slight problem tonight. Because apparently Dropbox is syncing, so I'm not sure how well that is going to change with how everything is supposed to be working properly. So, yep. All right. Chat box has popped out. And well, hello, Mike B. Thank you for joining us. Or me, I should say, not am I saying us. As I was just saying that right now Dropbox seems to be syncing up, so it is causing, at least on my end, things a little bit jittery and stuff like that. So not sure how well that's going to work. Haven't figured out how to stop it from syncing. So it is eating computer processing power, and it is also taking up bandwidth also. So, but we shall soldier on. Let's go onto the workbench. So what's going on? Basically, what is happening is right now I'm building a Hunter line queen post covered bridge. And right now the bridge looks like a bridge. In fact, it looks like pretty much like the uncovered bridge, minus the outer rigging and all that. Basically, because it's a covered bridge, the extra supports are actually on the inside, inside the covered portion, and that's what I'm working on tonight. It is this portion that is, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's this portion that's up here. We got this portion already done, but now we're going to be gluing and putting the side angles together. Now the posts, the top sill and the bottom sill are 1x6s, or 6x6s, I should say. Well, thank you, Mike. I'm still not quite set up for my monitor. My monitor is to the left, so it's a little bit hard to keep track of things. But basically, when I started this YouTube channel, I was unemployed, but now I'm employed. Basically soon after, of course, soon after I start this YouTube channel, I get employed. So pretty much get a little on the tired side at times. I have to use the ultimation sander to flatten out the end. Right now, I'm just going to be cutting pieces right now. And my understanding, you got the top sill, which yeah. And what a lot of times I like to do is actually start with the big pieces and then slowly go smaller and smaller pieces, because sometimes you can use the smaller pieces that you cut off as other pieces. File that down. So we are, and since we're building two, we need a second one. Oh, hello, Lynn McGurty. Nice seeing you here. I know I see you around all different other places and all that, so I'm very honored to see you here, Lynn. I am in the process of building the Hunter Line 50-foot post covered bridge, following on New Tracks modeling. And apparently, they do. They learn their lesson of doing things pre-recorded, because their internet speed is not super reliable. So that's why they do a lot of things pre-recorded now. There's the top still, goes aside. And now, as you can see, you got the smaller pieces. Let's go with the bottom sill first. And eventually, the theory is it's supposed to look very similar to this. Mine's not going to be as weathered as this one, where you can see there's missing boards and stuff like that. Mine's going to be a little bit more better upkeep and maybe a little bit newer. Does anyone have reliable internet? I would have to say I have relatively decent internet that's reliable. There was one stream I had where I lost the stream, but that was because the area was having a major windstorm, which took out the power. So my computer, which is the laptop, kept on going, but the problem is that the modem was not is not on battery backup supply. So even though the computer was trying to do the stream, it lost contact with the internet and eventually stopped. And by the time I got power back, it's like it was a good at least a half an hour or so before I got power back on. And by that time, it's like I had at least 45 minutes in, so I was like, yeah, all right, that's pretty decent. So I didn't really worry about it too much. Well, hello, Rigwag. How you doing tonight? Ooh, somebody has good internet. Yeah, I would have to say I'm sort of lucky and have decent internet. I mean, it is not perfect. Sometimes, like right now, Dropbox decided to sync and all that. So it my I'm not sure how well it's going to affect the stream and all that because it's not only taking up bandwidth but also computer power. Hello there, Anthony. Yeah, I would have to say at least I try to do it, only one camera at a time. I mean, I don't think I do have multiple cameras, but I'm only using one at a time, so it seems to not be bad at that point. I was at one time helping with New Tracks Modeling, which is doing this is the my build for that of building a theoretically a nice covered bridge after this. As I showed a little bit earlier, right now I do have like the foundation part of it, which looks pretty much like I earlier I built the Queen Post uncovered bridge, which I gotta still get like a magic marker or something to sort of dull up the copper lines there. But I would have to say this is my first kit foray into wooden kits and all that, and wouldn't quite recommend that this is a first kit. They do the Hunter line does make a king post, which is basically that. Instead of having these two sections here, there's only one, and it's a much shorter bridge, which is more of a beginner's kit. But I was in the mood to have something that was a little bit longer than the king post because the king post is relatively short. All right. When we go to the posts, see how well those are. Now these I'm going to need. I thank you, Lynn, uh, for for the compliment. This scale is HO scale. I know the bridge makes it bridge is much larger than the locomotive, so it actually looks a lot larger. Also, according to the instructions for the plane, the uncovered bridge, the NMRA standards are actually are wider. The clearances are actually larger than what the prototype is. So interestingly, the narrow gauge bridge, which I think they came out with first, which because they built it as per prototype, but it wound up being too narrow because with models, the curves are usually shorter and the clearances are wider. So the narrow gauge bridge they have is actually the correct size for the prototype, but this being HO scale, they actually, its NMRA standards are actually, it's a couple of feet, if I remember correctly, it's a couple of feet wider on that. So, but that was sort of kind of interesting. And sometimes you have to make compromises on when you're modeling something, you have to make compromises to making sure that things work properly. And that's why I think that's what the clearances are for. But I also think the current standards, I also believe, are also for modern equipment. This style of bridge was 1800s. Eventually, I want to say early 1800s. But eventually it did wind up getting superseded with better style bridges. Another interesting thing is that it can be used, this could also be used for not just for trains, but also for cars. Oh, hello there, Dan. Nice to see you drop in. Speaking of new tracks, Dan's Model Railroad Journey is one of the people that are behind the scenes helping out new tracks. I was helping him for a while, and then I did something silly and got employed and couldn't really help as much as I wanted to anymore. But what Dan does is that he is on the Zoom meeting and also does a lot of stuff with YouTube, to basically transfer questions and answers between the two different platforms, which is helpful because Jim Kello, the creator of New Tracks, does not have the capability to keep track of stuff on the equipment that he has. Now those are slightly different sizes. However, I do have an Ultimation sander I can turn around and make them so they're all the same size. Al Collins, the one who created Ultimation, is a frequent watcher on New Tracks. Thank you, Mike B, for the compliment. And it's one of those things of, I never done wood kits before. It's one of those things of, I think that's what New Tracks got me sort of into is doing wood kits, and figuring out how, working more on scratch building stuff, and taking a chance on doing things. I would have to say before the pandemic, I was sort of a what's called an armchair modeler. Even though I did belong to a modular club and helped out with that, but I never had an actual layout. Now I do. In fact, you can see part of it here. It's a 8 foot long layout, 1.5 feet wide. It comes apart in 2 parts. I rent, so that's the reason why it's designed to be taken apart and down. The track layout is a combination of the time saver and a very small angle nook for a yard. So that. Slide. Too short. That on the inside where no one will see it. Literally different sizes. So, let's grab them all. See which ones are which. Have 2 short ones. Good thing the hunters do give plenty, so you do wind up with extra. And I guess from what I understand, they do that is so you don't have to worry about running out of stuff. Those things do have a tendency to I don't want to say disappear, but it's the shortest ones here. Yeah, I think Dan's model railroading journey and myself are. I think we wound up starting to doing the same stuff because I think Dan wound up getting a little bit ahead of me. I think I believe he started his layout before I did. I have to cut 2 more of these. Right. So that's one thing of during the presentation last night, Maureen wound up going off the wrong board. She was cutting the siding. She wound up going up too far. Yeah, I've done that. I try to keep mine around an hour. There have been times that I lose track of time, and the next thing I know, it's an hour and a half. Uh, but I know usually after me is third rail Thursday. Uh, so I try not to go over. Try not to go over. So I mean, my channel isn't the largest, um, but I haven't really been either promoting it either because of, well, now that I'm back to work, well, I started this when I was unemployed, so it was like it was something for me to do. And now that I'm employed, I'm not as um, enthusiastic of keeping it, uh, promoting it and all and etc. This is the Ultimation Sander. Hashtag not sponsored, but also got the repeater on it, so it's easier to make them all the same, make everything the same size. There's a got the thing correct. Now I have to say, with this type of sander, it depends on, well, how much you're going to be doing. Um, I mean, they do. There are other tools that are out there that are made that are a little bit more. They're a little less expensive, but they're also seeing they're like sanding blocks that go back and forth, and wasn't quite on something a little bit more precise. Um, I'm used to dealing with things that are very precise and all that. So my new workplace is nice because when they turned around and I'm used to dealing with partial millimeters or a couple of thousandths of an inch, and it's and I was told, oh, the tolerance is a quarter inch. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't have to be as daunting on it. It's all the same. It's within tolerance. Okay, now I'm gonna figure out which ones were too short. So now grab these. This is for one side. Second one. Now we're going to turn around and do with the nail strapping. So they're 3x6, which are these. Basically, what I wound up doing is anything that was going to be on the covered side, I painted, or I should not painted, I weathered barn red, also from Hunter Line. With this kit, it was set up where not only did you get the kit, but you also had a discount on the weathering mix. And then mostly everything else I did as driftwood. Yeah, I do. I think so. Dark. Blue gray. Did that in blue gray, but then I have a bunch of I did do it in driftwood. And I did most everything in driftwood, except for the ties. As you can see, the ties are a combination of all the different colors: creosote black, tie brown, everything but the barn red. Because you don't usually think of barn red as being a tie color. These are now the drawing is a little deceiving from what I understand. Uh, this is showing the male strapping on the inside. It's actually supposed to be on the outside. So there is one error that was pointed out by Rick Hunter, who was the gentleman who designed it back in 2016. Obviously, they have not corrected said error. It's been at least 4 years. Side. Let's see. Yes, because this is exposed. So we're only going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a total of 10. And I think I have Lynn, I have recorded some stuff. That was before I started doing the live stream. The reason why I was starting out with live streams, because I was helping with new tracks modeling, so sort of like already in that mode. New tracks modeling also used Zoom. That's why I'm also using Zoom instead of some of the other programs that people in the community like using. But my original plan was once I get comfortable and maybe a little bit of an audience and all that, maybe then start trying the other styles. But have not gotten that far yet. This flies it there. Hello, Randall. Thank you for coming in. So with the rail strapping, they give you they give you extra. You can't really use the extra. So I have to get these sort of like right on the nail. Now, does anyone know who's up on Third Rail Thursday? I know Go Via and Go Home has 2 of the slots, but I'm not sure if this is the one of the slots that they have. They make it like that. I think took third or the first one because Danco was not. Danco is doing a new project, being a new father. M&N Rails. I was just about to say that was one of the options I was thinking of. Now, if I remember correctly, everyone on the Third Rail Thursday, if I remember correctly, they're all Canadians. Which it's one of those things of over the pandemic. I've been actually surprised on how many, and not just with model trains, but YouTubers in general, how many Canadians there are. It's not. It's basically I turn around, it's like, oh, they're pretty cool and all that, and all of a sudden they just happen to mention that they're Canadian. I'm like, really? One channel I like watching is Blondie Hats. She is a Canadian, but I'm blanking on exactly where in Canada. All right, we now have all the pieces that I need. So now, sort of start gluing them together using a regular normal PVA glue. And what I usually use to hold said glue. Now that I want to take this off, I can't. They're basically went to the one of the dollar stores that's in Arlington, and basically the plastic shot glasses with PVA. A lot of the stuff is reusable, as you can see. I just peeled off the tape, but I also use when I was using, also use like super glue or something like that. And there's different colors, so it's a little bit easier to keep track of. Okay, the PVA is on the light green. Super glue is on the pink or orange or the particular colors I happen to be using. One thing I have found out that I'll be trying next time is get smaller bottles. Basically, get the smaller bottles and then get the big, massive refill bottles. So it's a little bit more. I'm finding out with the smaller bottles, you don't have to worry about things drying out as much. So there. But here they are. Got these little cheap squares, I think from Harbor Freight, or no, they were from a. It was at a train show where somebody had a bunch of tools and all that. I grabbed these. Just realized something. I didn't have those. Do first is using a square on this one. Dad. There. Screwing into that. Yes, Randall. Making sure you have both hands on the wheel. It's understand as if you're not going to be typing. So that's what slightly. This one. Like any building, trying to get as much squareness as possible. The only thing is that the PVA is not only sticking to the glue, it's sticking to the metal better. So, sticking to wax paper more. That's what I have actually under the over the drawings. I have wax paper. From what I can understand, is the hardest part is getting the initial thing to glue together. Or at least stay sticky enough that it doesn't come apart. That's the I was trying to figure out a way to have this removable, but it looks like I uh, yeah, maybe I can make the roof removable, but not necessarily the sides. Also, for fantastic glue applicator, you use toothpicks. Go here, so that there. But I have to say, even though I do have a layout, it is not it's temporarily not working. It's also it's sort of a switching puzzle layout, so it's not like the ones where you can just let them go and run and run and run and run. So this hmm thing is the way they did the kit on the live stream is that it was done flat. So I'm trying to see do standing up. Might not be the smartest thing. It's going against the person that's been doing it for years, must be even decades. I'm not sure how long. I don't know how it's been operating. But Maureen is the resident builder, building all the different bridges. So she is an expert. We should be following experts' rulings, but there's doing it this way. There's a lot more surface for the glue. Initially, to the outside. See a real good bit of clamp that. Hopefully I didn't paint myself in a corner. Let's try here. Add the that way. See how it sticks. More of a challenge than plan. This PVA glue is good when it has a nice surface to get attached to, but yeah, something that's like really small pieces to connect to. It's not as sticky as one would. So this might. I'll sort of have to like hold this for a while because there's no. I don't see any immediately nice way of clamping this down. But so, what fun projects are people working on? Okay, this is looking promising. Let's see if we can glue these sideways. There. Weathering boxcar. That's one skill I haven't acquired yet. Weathering. Um, so that's one thing about this hobby. Some people are very good and fantastic with different things, and then there's people that are learning, and then there's people that can never get it to go right. So we love some, but eventually it's something that I want to. Weathering is something I eventually want to do, especially boxcars because of the 1850s that or 1870s that I modeled. Boxcars were the predominant rail car. And the weathering the 1870s is also different than more modern stuff. Basically, well, they didn't have spray cans back then, so they didn't. Everything wasn't tagged with spray cans. Swapping out the plastic wheels for metal. Starting with the Rick Bailey sent you. Bad Day at Black Rock. I have never seen that movie. Uh, I would assume there was a time with movies is there's a lot of trains in the older movies, mainly because since it was a normal mode of transport, they were in the background and didn't really people just understood that that's where they were there. Remember, oh, it wasn't that far ago that I actually saw the White Christmas with Bing Crosby and who else is the other one that he was normally with? But the thing is, they were showing it's like, oh, they're going, they're going to somewhere in Vermont or something along those lines, and they're showing all these, these trains and all that, and it's like they're all, Santa Fe, Union Pacific. It's like they're nowhere near, they're nowhere near Vermont, but they were just putting up stock footage to, basically, hey, it's a train, so I guess they didn't think that the I mean, the average person probably wouldn't have noticed and all that, but people who know about trains would probably go like, no. Here's a couple of movies that I've watched over the years, which is sort of the same thing and going like, oh, they got that right, and then it's like they got that completely wrong. There's a couple of movies where they're trying to be as accurate as possible, and then all of a sudden they do something of going like, technically, like telescoping locomotive. There's this one where their locomotive was telescoping into the passenger car, which my thought process was they used to do, they're back in the 1800s, that might, even the, actually crashing it, I would say even the early 1900s, things would normally happen that way. But then this is a modern locomotive going into a modern Amtrak thing. It's like, no, they solved that problem years ago. But it was obviously there for the uh, the, uh, the theater dramatics of it. Why does that look not square? This does not want to stay. This might have wound up getting good. There, that looks nice. It did look nice. Not only did it take that part off, it took everything off. All right. These are too heavy. Unfortunately, the ones that would be light enough, they're made out of wood and one would wind up basically sticking to it. All right, so we're back on track. I think we might have to actually wait for things to dry a little bit before we start fiddling with them. So I do have miniature clothespins, but they're clothespins, so they're made out of wood. So that means the glue will stick to them, so I can't use them. Well, that's interesting. I know a lot of times of some people turn around and they do model. They try to model TV or train movies. One I know is very popular is Back to the Future. You know, they get a hold of a DeLorean and all that fun stuff. Being pushed by a steam, the Sierra number 3, which I actually do have a bunch of that and made by Mantua / Tyco. However, apparently they are not HO scale, but they are OO scale. And never realized that until you put one of them next to an actual HO scale locomotive, and it's like, wow, that does look large. You're right, I have the steam engine pushing a DeLorean. There's this one group that I've been hanging out with. I think they started out doing Civil War railroads, but now they've expanded to pretty much the 1800s. Because I'm sort of aiming for doing the Reconstruction era, which is after the Civil War. But before they started to heavily use coal, and then all of a sudden, all the American locomotives are black. But remember when I was saying that I lose track of time? Apparently, I've lost track of time. It is now 8:05. So let me switch cameras. In doing so, causing this one to wobble. All right. Okay, back over to this camera. Well, it is now 8:06, so I'm assuming M&M Rails is probably long have started. So I'm going to close off this stream now. So people want to wander over there, they can. I think I have the Civil War group that I was just talking about. I think they do have some schedulings on Thursday nights after my thankfully after my stream. So I'll be showing up late to that if they have it. If not, I'll be over M&M's. So thanks everyone for showing up and making the chat lively. I think this is the most lively. Only 5:07 there. I understand, Lynn. You are in a different time zone. So, all right. Well, yeah. See you later, Anthony. All right, everyone. I think the world needs a little bit more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. And